Your coach has talked quite a lot about the commitment you guys made to being a better defensive team. Could you just talk about what you guys did better for that long stretch when you got back into the playoff race?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a night and day difference from the beginning of the year to where we were when everything shut down. I think a big part of that was just protecting the middle. That's something that we definitely stressed. We want to be quick to pucks and overwhelm teams when there are loose pucks in the corners, but also know when the right time is to go and pressure and to double and to try to pin pucks and to try to come up with pucks in those battles and know when we need to protect the middle and not get too spread out and give up high volume chances from the middle. So.
What kind of hockey shape are you in? If you can compare it to a normal season, where do you think you are? And just gauging from your teammates, where do you think these first couple of days have positioned you?
Yeah, it's hard to be a judge of what kind of hockey shape you are if you haven't played in any games. I know the pace of our last two practices, yesterday and today, have been really good. I think surprised a lot of people just how fast the practices were and how long we were able to go. I don't know if that's just because guys are well rested and fresh and excited to be back, but I think we'll probably have a better idea of that over the next few days as the volume kind of starts to build.
I wanted to know what your mindset is as a team going into this, into this opportunity you have here, this best of five. And Mika said yesterday that the mindset is to win the whole thing. And I'm wondering, how much guys really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the mindset has to be. I think that's a big part of the reason why there's such a good energy and such a buzz around us right now. I think we really believe in the group that we have and the style of play, the structure, the way that we play, and the way that we were playing before the extended break. So I think there's a ton of belief in our room right now. But at the end of the day, we got to follow the old cliche and take it one game at a time. Can't look past Carolina and can't look past the first game against Carolina. So just continuing to prepare every single day, but I definitely think that we believe that we can make some noise and sneak up on some people.
Can you describe Artemi Panarin as a teammate?
Yeah. I mean, he's. I think a lot of guys would say that he's a funny guy. He's not overly loud in the dressing room, but when he says something, it's a lot of time he's got a very dry sense of humor. He's witty. He's a little bit sarcastic, and he's sharp as a tack. So, but he's a very good teammate. I mean, he competes like a dog on the puck in games. He wants to win. He's highly competitive. I mean, you could see that today from the scrimmage. Him and Mika going back and forth a few times. He wants the puck, and he doesn't want anyone else to have it. But off the ice, very good teammate, very good friend. Probably one of the happiest people you ever meet. And although he's a little bit soft-spoken, maybe it's because he's not as comfortable with the language, although I think he speaks much better English than he lets on, as I'm sure a few people have said. But yeah, just a great all-around human being.
Hey, Chris, can you take us through your actual end of your rehab and how you felt when you felt you were able to get, felt strong enough, your foot was good enough to play?
Yeah, I think I might have been pushing a little more than I should have to come back a little earlier than I should have. It certainly didn't feel good putting the boot on for the first few minutes when I was first getting on the ice, but it started to calm down a little bit once I got out on the ice. But a few weeks into quarantine, it just all of a sudden woke up and felt pretty good. But at the same time needed to do a decent amount of rehab, just kind of working up the chain there, starting from where the break was on the foot, up the calf and the shin there, working on the hip, and just basically everything up that chain because everything kind of fatigues. I mean, just walking a few days in a walking boot can kind of mess with your gait a little bit and make things a little bit awkward. So there was a little bit of rehab and a little bit of weakness initially, but feels 100% now.
Chris, during the course of your NHL career, as it got towards the end of the season, you usually battling for position. You don't know your opponent going into the playoffs. You've known who your opponent's going to be since May. Have you individually looked at tape of who you might be matched up against, or are you just, coming into camp and worrying about the structure, defensively and assignments that way?
I think right now we're focusing on our structure. It's such a big layoff. It certainly helps to have a bit of a refresher first few days, weeks of I guess, camp or practices. And at a certain time, we will sit down and do our pre-scout on Carolina, just like I'm sure they'll sit down and do their pre-scout on us. But it's hard to really take away anything from what happened in the regular season. The playoffs are obviously a very different beast. We know what they want to do from a structural standpoint, but I assume everyone on their team's healthy, everyone on our team's healthy. So I don't think, at least today, we're really looking at matchups, at least as players. I'm sure the coaches are mulling it over, but right now we're very, very concerned about ourselves and our own structure and getting back on the same page.
Just was curious for your thoughts. Like, if you look at the matchup with Carolina, obviously they have a highly skilled, very good top first line. But with you guys, the way you spread it out, with your line having so much success this year, and obviously Artemi's line having a lot of success, how much of an advantage do you think that is for you guys to have it spread out as opposed to stacking one line?
It's hard to say because they really do have, obviously they have that very high-powered line that generate a lot of offense, but they've got incredible depth and maturity and veteran presence throughout their forward group and their D group. They're a very deep team. They're a hard-working team. So regardless of how they set their lines up, maybe they choose to split up that line. You don't know. At the end of the day, that's the beauty of the playoffs. You're probably going to get a very similar matchup game in and game out. So guys have to be focused on winning their matchup and winning their shifts.